Let's go behind the scenes of the Cal Raleigh post-game interview last night. Now, if you did not see the Mariners win against the Texas Rangers and the post-game interview that followed, well, I cannot show you the exact interview because that belongs to Major League Baseball. But I can tell you that Cal Raleigh hit a home run in the 8th inning that not only gave the Mariners the lead, but it gave Cal Raleigh a franchise record. He has hit more home runs than any catcher in franchise history, and he's done it in a really short amount of time. Obviously, that is something that we would want to talk about in a post-game interview, except I know Cal doesn't want to talk about it. Now, let's pause the conversation right here because this is more than a sports conversation and more than a post-game interview conversation. There are actually some things that will be helpful in some of the conversations you are having at work. So, Cal Raleigh has this milestone moment, and it is obviously something that we have to talk about on the field post-game. Except there's a few things. Like I mentioned, I know he doesn't want to talk about it because he, like many of the other athletes I have covered, don't really like to talk about their accomplishments or how far the ball went or what it means in the course of his career. I have covered Cal since he was first in pro ball, like going back to Modesto. So I know this about his personality, and I have built a relationship and have that rapport and understanding of what he's like to know what to expect in that moment. So I'm going into this conversation knowing a couple of things. I cannot change a personality, and I cannot force you to give me the answer that I think you should be giving me. Meaning, it is a huge moment and people want to celebrate you. But if the answer you give me is 5 words, or if it's aw shucks, or I'll think about this later on in my career, that is the answer. I can't change that. I'm not going to be able to get you to pontificate about something that you are not ready to talk about. I also know that if he's going to avoid these types of questions, that I need to be prepared for really short answers. I cannot avoid the questions altogether because the entire audience is expecting me to talk about it. So what I did was prepare 3 kind of quick hitting questions off the top. I expected a 1-sentence or a 1-word answer. When I do that, I am already prepared for the next question, right? There's no awkward silence, like where I'm standing there anticipating him to say more. Nope. Okay. Short answer. Get to the next question. Another short answer. Great. Get to the next question. Now, I am also telling the audience while I am having this conversation with Cal live on the field, I know you don't like to talk about your accomplishments. So right there, we're kind of level setting. Because if the audience doesn't understand what's happening, they could easily misunderstand Cal. It's not that he doesn't appreciate it or that he hasn't worked hard or that he doesn't understand the gravity of the moment. He just doesn't particularly enjoy talking about himself. When I am able to say that out loud, now everybody has kind of level set. And then after I get a few quick hitting questions about his home run, I am able to shift the conversation and say, okay, I'm going to let you talk about your teammates next. And if you were to watch that interview, you would see that the answers about his teammates were 4 times longer than the answers about himself. Couple of things here if we take this to a business conversation. Number 1, this is the number 1 reason why I will never fall back on the old adage of, if you don't have anything to say, just ask people about themselves. They're always willing to talk about themselves. Nope, that is not true, especially with some of the high performers that I've been around. You need to understand the personality. Number 2, you need to respect that personality because my answer might be different than his answer, might be different than her answer, might be different than your answer. And that's okay. When you have a relationship in place, it's a whole lot easier to have that conversation. Number 3, we're cluing everybody in to what's going on. Before the interview even started, I said, Cal, I know you're not going to want to talk about your home run, but that's exactly where we're going to start. So now he knows, and then I can give some verbal cues to the audience so that everybody's on the same page. So just a little quick hitting of what's happening behind the scenes, and I hope maybe this kind of gets you thinking a little bit differently about your business conversations and kind of gives you a reminder on effective communication and truly just meeting people where they are in a conversation. Okay, I'll see you.